Hello, friends. Shout out to all of our friends on Facebook, and thank you all so much as well to our Zoom family. Thank you for being here. So y'all already know, welcome back to yet another F up, level up, level up, level up, level up night. I am so excited. Once again, thank y'all so much for allowing me to always come back and speak to amazing entrepreneurs in our city and beyond. I am Ohavia Phillips. Okay, so listen, do me a favor on Facebook. Tell me how you feeling, what you excited about tonight. And here on Zoom, put hey or tell what you're excited about, what some questions that you may have, or just save those to the end. Because listen, this panel is absolutely, I'm not just saying this because I love them all. This panel is absolutely like out of this world, supernova amazing. Okay. Out of this world, supernova amazing. What up, Madison? Good to see you. So good to see all of you all in the Zoom room. Also to our friends on Facebook. So yes, friends. So I don't know if y'all know this, but April recognizes two things. Okay, are you ready? So April is the National Month of Hope, and also it's Stress Awareness Month. Okay, did y'all know that? Put in the chat if y'all knew that, and on Facebook, let me know if y'all knew that. So when I was doing research about the theme for this show, I was like, man, we need something to encourage our entrepreneurs. We definitely want to always send you all off with vibes, but especially value, right? Because listen, to be an entrepreneur, creative, wherever you are in your industry and in your space, it's important to keep the fire burning so you can continue to go and fulfill what you want to do, okay? So yeah, friends, so April is the National Month of Hope and also Stress Awareness Month, and both of which entrepreneurs, owners, employees, everybody, all of us go through, right? We go through hope. Sometimes we're a little stressed out. We're very excited about things. Sometimes we're really anxious. And listen, at the end of the day, the reason why we have F Up, Level Up nights is to encourage you all to continue to keep your hands to the plow and do awesome things, okay? So with the help of my friends at Advent, we wanted to literally be intentional about this panel, to provide resources, and through this panel, inspire your hope, okay, in what you do and in who you are, reduce as much stress as possible that comes with work, school, ownership, and especially the transition with everything happening in the pandemic and with life in general, okay? So listen, again, you have the best seat in the house. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Now let's get into this panel, and I'm so excited. This is my favorite part, is reading the bios of all my favorite people. So first up, we have the beautiful Latesha Byrd. So Latesha Byrd is the CEO and founder of Byrd Career Consulting. She is also a talent development consulting agency serving organizations and top talent at the intersection of career empowerment, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and leadership development. I'm not just saying this because she's a good sis of mine. She is a powerhouse, and she will definitely take you there with all of your career goals. In the chat, say, hey, Latesha on Facebook. Say what up. Hey, Latesha.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you for being here. So happy to have you, love.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Next up, we have the beautiful, the impeccable Kobe. So Kobe Campbell is an award-winning licensed trauma therapist, speaker, and Christian counselor. Kobe is also the owner of the Healing Circle Therapy and Wellness Center in Charlotte and hosts the Healing Circle podcast with her amazing husband, Kyle. She is an impeccable human. And let me tell you, I love how she uses media like podcasting and all the things to really inspire you, but definitely get you to continue thriving. Hey, Kobe.
Hey, everyone. So excited to be here. Hey, O.
I'm so happy. Y'all, I tell you, I just love all three of them. All three of them. I love them all. And last but certainly not least, the man behind Advent, the man behind all the things, the man behind just all good things, along with a phenomenal team, we have Kevin. So Kevin is a creative, a problem solver with experience as a project manager and Scrum Master. Did I say that right, Kevin? Am I right? Yeah, okay. He's like, you did it right. And after receiving a master's degree in structural engineering and a career in engineering and IT consulting, Kevin founded Advent Co-working. And listen, y'all, I met Kevin about 1 or 2 years ago. Beautiful heart, so kind. And he continues to not only lend his space to me as a creative, but always bring the vibes and the value. Hi, Kevin.
What's up, guys? Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited. Okay, family, so listen. Along our chat, please feel free. Listen, this is interactive. It's not just us and we're separate. We want you to put any questions that you have. If you want to show love to Latesha, Kobe, and Kevin, or if you have specific questions for any of them, please feel free to put them in the chat at any point in the conversation, and let's get to it, okay? So listen, there's a lot going on in the world, y'all. Latesha, Kobe, Kevin, it's a lot going on in the world. And for entrepreneurs, sometimes we feel very stressed. And sometimes we also feel very hopeful by the newness of new. So I want to start with you, Latesha, especially when we discuss career consulting and also the term that was definitely coined amid the pandemic, the pivot. I just wanted to start us off and ask you this question. How have you pivoted in your career consulting?
Yeah, this past year has definitely, I think, transformed my business. And, there's power in the pivot. And so with that being said, we spend over a third of our lives working, 8 hours a day, 24 hours in a day. We can all do the math on that. And so I have been coaching for years now, focused on career coaching. And so I'm actually about to go through a huge relaunch and revamp with my business, which is going to be amazing. But because I coach so many people, I actually launched a membership community in April. And so at first I was doing one-on-one coaching. That's not scalable. You can only take on so many clients at a time. And y'all have been doing this work since, 2015. And so I was going to launch this like high tickets, coaching program, 4 figures or whatever. But then when April hit, that was going to be my launch date. Of course, the world just kind of shut down. And I didn't really feel comfortable just saying, you know what, let me just launch this coaching program. Y'all spend $3,000 with me. Like, no, right? And so I ended up launching a membership community. We started off at $15, $19 a month. And it's an online community for women of color where they can really get career development and they can just feel seen and heard, felt, and supported. And that has grown. We have over about 600 members in the club. In 20 industries in 10 countries. And so, I am so thankful for being able to offer something that is not only affordable, but is providing that safe space. And then I think also too, people were starting to kind of catch on to the work that I was doing. And so companies started reaching out and they're like, you work with a lot of women of color or just people of color. So like, can you help us figure out what we're trying to do here? Because we want to be inclusive and we don't know what we're doing. So again, another shift. And now we're serving businesses and I'm bringing on consultants. And so saying all that to say, like, I feel, after being an entrepreneur for 6 years, and I'm finally in a place where I'm like, this is what I work for. You know what I'm saying? This is what I work for and I'm able to give back. I love what I do and I'm so passionate about it. I really think that everyone should have the opportunity to do something that they love to do as well. So.
Yes. Listen, Latesha, come on. Come on, Latesha, that's amazing. And you said something so good too, Latesha, about community and consulting, bringing the two together. And Kobe, this really reminds me of the work that you do with the Healing Circle podcast, but in general with the Healing Circle Therapy and Wellness Center. So as we discuss community and consulting, what inspired you to get into the therapy and wellness space? And how have you pivoted amid the pandemic?
Thank you for asking that. First of all, Latesha, woo!
Right.
That was so encouraging to hear. So thank you for sharing that. I think that what really got me into this space was my own healing journey with my own past traumas. I like to tell my clients, you can be running in the same direction, but whether you're running away from something or running towards something, like those are two different things, right? The motivation matters. And so for me, I spent most of my life running away from things. And so it wasn't until I stopped and assessed and got in therapy and started to do my own work that I realized like what I wanted to run toward. I know what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I wanted. And there's a difference between that. And when I figured that out, that's what really fueled my work. And I didn't feel uncomfortable reaching out to people and meeting the need of their brokenness because I knew what they needed because that's what I needed, And so with that, it was cool to have people come to my counseling services, but kind of like what Latesha said, one-on-one counseling is not scalable. Like, I love y'all, but there's a limit to how many hours there are in the day, and there's a limit to my capacity, and I want to be able to give everyone my very best. So getting into communities, to churches, to even corporate America, and teaching them how to implement mental health principles into their organizations through trainings and workshops has been really cool to see how the pandemic, even though in many ways it was terrible, forced many of us, including organizations, to figure out what matters most, and that's the people in their hearts. And that's what we've got to take care of.
Wow, wow, Kobe. And listen, thank you for the work that you're doing. And you bring up an important aspect too of ownership, entrepreneurship. Even if you work, period, right? Life, period. It's important to make sure that mental health is very well, especially in times such as these. And that inspired my question for Kevin. So Kevin, Advent is like, and I'm not just saying this, I really do enjoy the atmosphere at Advent. I feel like it's very inclusive, very diverse, but especially I love how you don't have employees, you have family, and you can tell, right? Literally. But like, I wanted to ask you, Kevin, listen, especially being the founder, how, with the pandemic and with the unforeseen pivots, how did you stay balanced with Advent, pandemic, Advent, La Rona? How did you do it?
Pandemic aside, ever since becoming an entrepreneur, I have struggled with balance. Who and how should I spend my time and energy has been something I've just been trying to hone in on the last 5.5 years. I would say every quarter I assess how I manage my day-to-day routine, how I manage my goals, manage my quarterly, yearly plan, and then reassess how it's been going and kind of go from there. I've gone like full pendulum, going one thing where I actually mapped out how I spent every 5 to 10 minutes of my life to figure out these life chunks of everything that I'm doing in my entire life for a given month, and made sure that I actually had enough time to do everything I wanted. So I went way one side, and the other side, I just said, screw it, I'm not gonna use any tool to manage my life or worry about balance and just go with what I want. But then I felt way too much just stress because I didn't feel like I wasn't in control enough. So I'm trying to find that happy medium of ensuring that I'm giving Advent and money-making opportunities enough of my time while enjoying my family, my marriage, my friends, myself, meaning am I growing? Am I spending time myself to be healthy mentally and physically? Am I eating well? Am I cooking properly? It runs a gamut. And so every day is kind of like this inner battle I have with myself of, should I really spend this much time cooking this particular meal? Or should I go answer some more of these emails? So unfortunately, I don't have an answer. The pandemic made it a lot more apparent how important my true friends really are. True friends, and how to spend time with them appropriately.
Yeah.
For the pandemic, it was just pedal to the metal. Whoever screamed the loudest, what was going on? Where should I be? What's going on? So it helped bring a little more clarity to what I feel matters in my life.
Kevin, that was a word. The support, friendships, all the things that really does matter, especially like in entrepreneurship, all the things. Thanks so much for that, Kevin. And that inspired a question for you, Kobe. I wanted to ask, like, tell people the importance of support, right? Therapy, wellness, incorporated with their career goals. Because a lot of times, it's like, I know, even for me personally, I've been guilty of, oh no, like all hustle, no sleep. And then when I have a bad attitude about something small, I'm like, why am I being so mean? That's not even my nature, right? So just tell the people the importance of having that support that Kevin spoke so well to, therapy and wellness, also intertwined with your career goals.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to know we cannot do it alone. Like the magnitude of our dreams cannot be done alone. And that's just not a logistic reality, though it is a logistic reality. It's not only that, it's also a biological reality, right? When we think about even our punitive system here in this country, below death, isolation is the highest form of punishment. And so many of us have been taught by media to strive for that. I can do it by myself. I can handle it alone. Across all cultures, community and close emotional support has been the number one predictor of resilience. If we want to be people who get knocked down and get back up, we have to have people around us. And that's not specific to race, gender, or ethnicity. That's universal. And so when we are doing our work and serving our people, because that's what our work is serving people. We cannot serve people well if we're not well connected to people. And that's really important for us to remember. You got to serve people from the connections that you have to people. And that's what good, deep, and abiding problem solving work comes from. It comes from deep and abiding friendship and community.
Yeah. Wow. And I love that you spoke to understanding the element of service, right? And all that we do and how it really does help with our career goals. That inspired my question for you, Latesha. So when we talk resources and all the things, especially with, those who you work so closely with, sometimes working with people can be a lot, right? You speak to a lot of execs and all the things, and sometimes that can be a lot for them. So Latesha, could you just speak to how we can overcome a lot of our F-ups, right? In regards to understanding the importance of community, understanding we're not on an island, understanding that we have to work together. How can we avoid those F-ups and remember that we work better together in a career, in an industry, all the things?
Yeah. I mean, just kind of going off of, your question and Kobe's point, community is so important. And Kevin also spoke to clarity too. And those are some of the values in my business. Just going back to the community, because to me, it'll make sense in a second, but as we think about our own personal experiences, and just speaking for women of color or people of color in the workplace, when, studies show the gender pay gap and how we are underpaid, overlooked, overworked, undersupported, sometimes we think, okay, this is just me. Like either I'm doing something wrong, there's something wrong with me. And then when you do have a community of other people that can say, hey, you know what? I've been through that as well too. Here's what has helped me. So just being able to connect with people through shared experiences, I think is so important. I think one, it does require it requires us to do some reflection and just some self-introspective work, saying, you know what? This is not going well, or I am not doing well. And then once you do understand that, actually, I think there's strength and vulnerability as well. So once you recognize that, actually talking to people, whether that be a therapist, someone in your community that can actually support you, and be there for you too. I think that, I don't know, it's like we always try to show up and be perfect. And what I tell my clients is, don't worry about, or don't let showing up perfect keep you from showing up, period. And so I've also recognized that, me giving my best each and every day is not me giving a 10 out of 10 every single day. Sometimes the best I can do is a 2, the best I can do is a 3. And I know if I'm not at my best, then I can't do my best work, right? So like I'm just going through some family things, and last week I just canceled my meetings, and I was like, look, if you care about me as your coach or as your whatever, like just know that I need this space and time, and when I'm ready to serve and get back in that same capacity, I will be able to do that. And they completely understood, right? So sometimes we just gotta like let people know like that we're not doing okay, and take the time for ourselves to process and heal. So
That's so good. First of all these gems y'all are dropping, I'm just happy to be here. Very happy to be here. So Kevin, Latesha brought up a good point of, just knowing when she needs support, knowing when to back away and all the things. And that's one of the many things I love about Advent is the essence of community that you fostered. Not even just with like Sam and Charlotte and all the family, but literally with the community who wants to be a part of Advent as a co-working space. So Kevin, I wanted to ask you, how does Advent continue to support the community? What are some things that you all do? What are some things that you all offer? Just tell the people a little bit about Advent.
Sure. So we haven't changed our mission from day one, in that we're always essentially trying to create an environment where members are productive, grow, and collaborate. And we actually have values that we stick with and run with, and we've been living by since we've opened. And we've hired Sam as our director of member experience, and they've essentially made our member experience for our current members exponentially way better, because they had the time and energy to put into what we really wanted to do for so long. So anyways, quick snippet, what we do at Advent, it's a co-working space. You get Wi-Fi, coffee, electricity, pretty straightforward, but we have special needs for each, or special add-ons for each one of those that I won't get into. But the bones of what I think really makes Advent stand out is that we care about our members. Like Charlotte and Sam, if you are a member at Advent and you have an issue or a question or an idea or a concern, we are here to listen. Like, we want to ensure that you're happy, empowered, and growing. If you don't feel that way, then we all feel that we failed. And we do mean that. And that is a big differentiator for us, just providing good customer service. Doesn't sound like it's like an aha moment, but it really has proven to pay off in the long run for who we are. And even during the pandemic and last year has been really hard. But we were there for each one of our members that was going through God knows what in their personal lives. And everyone was going through all kinds of different things. And we essentially were trying to help however we could and still are. So ways to get involved, what you can do. If you're a member at an event, Sam will basically interview you, ask what you're into, how can we help you grow, what kind of events you got going on, what's your favorite color, whatever it may be. We offer you a chance to take over our social media platforms, give you a chance to talk at member talks. We have all these different panel discussions, all these different events, free yoga, lunch. Well, we're bringing back some of the in-person stuff slowly, but we used to do happy hours and lunches and all these things. And so Sam is brilliant and comes up with all these amazing ideas for how to continue to push us forward. But if you guys got ideas, think we're missing something, man, please let us know.
Yeah. And that's what I love, Kevin, is it is very interactive. Like with Avid, it literally is community and like talk to us, right? And you can tell and feel the vibes, especially when you're working in the space, but beyond, like even with mastermind groups and all the things. And it brings up this really good point. And Kobe, I wanted to ask you, sometimes like even whether it's a co-working space for me personally, even I'm at Avid, sometimes my brain is like 50 million places. And, sometimes co-working space in general help with balancing. So what I wanted to ask you, Kobe, is whether it's a co-working space, a coffee house, what are tips that you can offer for people who need help just balancing where they can feel even and thriving enough to complete their work?
Yeah. So one thing that I think is super simple is setting a clear, visible boundary for where you work and where you don't work. The brain loves boundaries, right? So even if you're working at home, if you are really exhausted, be downstairs. Downstairs is where I work, whether it's at the kitchen table, whether it's on the couch, whether it's in a chair pulled up beside a window. Downstairs is where I work, and setting that boundary. Upstairs, where my bed is, that's where I do not work. Or my bedroom is a place where I do not work, point blank, period. Yeah. I would sit on the floor. I will go to Starbucks. I will go anywhere. My bedroom is a sacred place where I rest. And that is the purpose of that. And I think when we internally start to define what the purpose of each place is in our lives, we begin to act accordingly and begin to live within that order, right? Because oftentimes you just feel frazzled and like disoriented and like you wake up and you answer an email and then you roll over and then you gotta brush your teeth and then this is where I'm supposed to rest, but this is also where I just read this email that made me feel really terrible. And so we kind of have to block off these places and say, you know what? Even getting down to my bed is a place where I don't do work. If I'm going to answer an email, even at night, if it's a client in distress, I get up and I go stand in my bathroom and I will text them back or I will send an email there. I do not lay in my bed and respond to anything that is related to trauma, hardship, any of that, because that is a sacred place for me to rest. And so I think that's like one tip that we can all take with us is to set that clear boundary. I do not work here and I do work here.
That is so good. And it's funny, it is really the simple things. And especially when the pandemic hit, I know for me, I turned my bedroom into like one side of the bedroom into a studio. And I was like, this isn't going to work because it's like, when do I rest? Osho ain't every day, so it's a really good point that you made. And I want to swing it back to you, Latesha. That's good. So Kobe brought up this essence of boundaries. And, when you do career consulting and also like, listen, sis, just proud of how you continue to give on social media, people tips and all the things to set up those boundaries for them and also level up in their careers. So Latesha, what are some tips that you can offer our friends watching who want to level up in their careers, in addition to boundaries, as Kobe has put?
Yeah, I guess when it comes to the leveling up piece, one is, we have to be able to define and redefine what success looks like for us, as much as we need to. And so if you want to level up, give yourself permission to level up. Or you know what, if you are happy with where you are, give yourself permission to be happy with that too, right? Like I talk to so many people who aren't actually satisfied in their careers, but they feel bad because they're like, well, what if I like what I'm doing and I don't want to move up or I don't want to take on this huge, big, team? I'm like, that's okay too. Right. But then for the people that do want to do more, it's giving yourself permission to say, you know what, I actually deserve what I want. And then you have to actually work for it too. People will reach out to me all the time and they're like, oh, well, should I look for a new job or should I negotiate salary? And it's like, you don't have to ask me, should you? More so ask me, how should you? Because if you are already asking yourself that question, 9 times out of 10, you know that you need to, but it will take work, you know. But I think sometimes what holds us back from leveling up is maybe we feel like we don't deserve it. How dare we do that? You know, I've been looking into achievement guilt or success guilt lately. And that's been really eye-opening. And so for, you know, people that have maybe excelled further than their parents, their families, their home environments may have a struggle with leveling up too. And so, you know, I think there's a lot of mindset work that we have to do before we can actually do the physical work. And I think when it comes to, you know, boundaries, when it comes to your career goals, it's knowing who to talk to and who not to talk to. Some people just won't truly understand and see the vision. And one of my favorite quotes is, you know, first they'll ask you why you're doing it, and then they'll ask you how you did it. And I mean, I know even for me, when I quit corporate America 3.5 years ago, they were like, you sure you want to do that? You're leaving this good salary behind, you know how your family is. They're like, you got PTO, you got retirement. It's like, you know what? I got retirement for myself, and I'm getting retirement set up for my new hire. So, you know, it's so much to it, but we got to do what's best for us, literally for us. So
Yes, no, for sure, sis. And you bring up a good point as well. It's this idea of not just wanting it, but really going after it, and that's amazing. But I want to hear from like here's the thing: you all are founders, CEOs, and execs, and this is the part where I want to do like lightning round, because maybe there's somebody who wants to start a business, right? Launch that book, start a brand, who knows? And so, Kevin, I'm gonna start with you and work my way down. Kevin, what are some tips that you have for owners that are pivoting in this time? And even though we don't know what tomorrow will hold, right? But like, what are some tips that you will offer owners in this time?
Don't be afraid or embarrassed to get funding from the government.
Oh, a word.
PPP round 1 and 2 has saved us. We also were able to receive some additional funds from the Emergency Disaster Relief Fund, and there's more funds coming. Since once you get in at one, it's like you're kind of in the revolution. So no shame in that. It's been extremely helpful. This has been really difficult times in that it has really forced me to dig deep into what my intention is for why I'm starting a business or why I'm running my own business. Because running under someone else's vision and leadership at times sure does sound appealing some days. And so what I would offer anyone pivoting in their business is to dig deep and really understand your inner workings of why, which maybe it is worth getting a real job, a different job somewhere else with another company under someone else's umbrella if it makes more sense at that point in time. And there's no shame in that either. Not the case for myself, but still, that was what the pandemic brought on around pivoting. And one more thing, if you haven't had kids yet and you're thinking about starting a business or changing your business dramatically, I would not recommend having a child and doing that at the same time. Just throwing it out there.
Kevin, you're the best. No, those were phenomenal tips too. And here's the thing, Kevin. I love how you bring up this point of digging deep, understanding the why, right? So it's not just ownership to own. It's not just being a founder to be a founder, but it's like really knowing, okay, who am I and how do I serve those who will engage with this business brand and all the good things? And Kobe, I want to swing this back to you after reading this comment from Madison. Madison, what's up, love? She said, I put a poll on Instagram asking my friends if they would help me fund my business, and only 8 out of 170 people responded. That's okay, Madison, keep going, but we got you here, okay? So Kobe, I wanted to ask you that as well is, Kevin brought up this good point, digging deep, knowing why we serve who we serve. Listen, Latesha brought up this essence of ask for what you need, say what you need. So in your opinion, Kobe, what are some tips that you can give owners as well who are pivoting in this time?
I would say 2 things. 1, go slow so you can go fast. A car that's built quickly cannot go far, and it cannot go fast. And I think it's really easy to get caught up on LLC Twitter and be like, I'm starting an LLC and now I'm a business and now, and then forget that you got to file yearly.
Right.
Forget that you got to pay taxes. It's really easy to be like, I'm starting a business and I want to reach this goal really quickly. And so I'm going to bypass all the things that take time and intentionality and effort to understand. So I would say go slow so you can go fast. And then also I would say make sure you're not the only expert on your team.
Ooh.
because that will exhaust you. You'll be paying people to teach them, and that will exhaust you. So make sure that if you're hiring someone in an area, that you're teaching them how you like it and not how to do it.
Okay, Kevin, Latesha, Kobe, listen, all these gems, listen, okay? Listen, no, that's really good. That really is a word, is understanding. I mean, between you and Kevin's understanding the why, fantastic. Latesha, this is what you do, career consulting. So what are some advice, some tips that you can offer owners, especially in this time of pivoting?
From a career perspective for pivoting?
For sure, yeah.
Okay, I have my answer for business pivoting, but
no, listen, give it all.
So, okay, pivoting. So when we think about clarity, I think there's kind of two parts to it. First is, what do you want, right? Like, how do you want to make that shift? Kobe said something earlier, which was, sorry, what did you say earlier, Kobe, which was so good? Hopefully I'll remember in a second, but internal clarity is knowing what you want. Knowing what you don't want, or going through what you don't want will get you closer to what it is that you do want. So take the time to do that, and get that internal clarity. And then once you figure out like what problems you care about, how you want to show up in the world, do that, get that external clarity, meaning who could be your customer, right? Even if you're looking for a job, your future employer could be a customer. You got to think about what problems you're able to come in and solve for them based on your skill set. Same with the business owner as well. So if you are thinking about pivoting, give the people what they want. And so I kind of see it on both sides, business and personal.
Yes, that's so good, Latesha. Listen, thank y'all for lending your minds. This is amazing. Madison put in the chat, what should we do before getting the business entity? And Kobe answered, I'd say doing lots of studying, research, and reaching out to people like Latesha who can help let you know what you got to do. That's a good question, Madison. Let's go round robin with that. Latesha, I want you to answer this. What should we do before getting the business entity?
Oh, I would, if you have the resources to invest in a business coach, someone that can really help you map it out. YouTube, if you have to, but like Kobe said, just kind of going slow to go fast. So taking a step back and really understanding who you want to serve. I do workshops all the time. So if you connect with me on Instagram,
do it.
Yes.
Do
Thanks,
it.
girl. I do some work with Google, and I do some webinars on business stuff there. Check out, there's so many resources that the city, I'm not sure if you're in Charlotte, Madison, but City of Charlotte is doing, but there's so many business accelerator programs as well. I just think it's so important to invest in some type of educational tools and resources to help you to have that fundamental knowledge.
Absolutely. That's so good. Kevin, in your opinion, what should we do before getting the business entity?
Put together a rough idea of what you want to do, and then find some folks that you think might be good mentors to talk to. And I would really, really encourage having mentors from the very beginning all the way. I mean, I have 2 different groups of mentors, like board of advisors, and I'm in Innovate Charlotte, and that has helped me immensely. People have a wealth of wisdom to share and no platform to do it. And a lot of people want to share. And to Latesha's point, there's a lot of great accelerators and incubators here in Charlotte, and they're growing, that offer a lot of discounted, if not free, resources for you to tap into. We're happy to share those as well.
That was so good. Mentorship. Yeah, I got my first mentor, y'all, in the middle of the pandemic, but it's the best thing ever. Man, somebody to call, somebody to teach you something so you could sit and learn. Really good. Heavy on the retweet. Also, shout out to Bridget on Facebook. Bridget wrote, teach them how you like it, not how to do it. Nice. I agree, Bridget. I definitely agree. Okay. So we got a question from Tremaine Tillman. How did you map your trajectory in the early stages of being an entrepreneur? Oh, that's cool. You want to start us off, Kevin? How did you map your trajectory in the early stages of being an entrepreneur?
I'm using the word trajectory to relate to finances. Maybe I'm going to just go run with that. My background led me to be able to, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm okay with numbers and I'm okay with Excel. So I did put together, theoretically, long assumptions for the next 10 years of my business, long before it began, of what I think it was going to be, when I thought we were going to grow. It has obviously since been way wrong from where I first started. But those assumptions in that map, or that that whole platform that I put together, I've modified and tweaked over the years. And now it's pretty rock solid to having very realistic projections based off of real data that can support where we think we're going to go. But just taking all the time up front to build that has helped.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Latesha and then Kobe. Latesha, how this person wanted to know, how did you map your trajectory in the early stages of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, my focus was making money.
Yes.
Because, if you focus on making money, then you can start to, build out the other things too. I think sometimes and so what does that look like? That means finding your clients, going where they are, whether that is social media, doing some discovery calls, talking to people who could be your target customers and saying, hey, would you, I'm going to put this out there. Would you buy this? Or what would this process need to look like for you? Like, just getting some of that information is key. And, I think sometimes we jump to doing the site, which I do think we all need a site, but we want to get the site. We want to get, the CRM. We want to get all this stuff, but focus on like getting your first few customers and dial into that and get really specific about what that process needs to look like and how you can get that money. And then I think I know I'm very much so simplifying this, but I think that you will learn how to iterate or reiterate over time. That's just how it goes in business.
Oh yeah, that's so good. And I'm glad you spoke to that, Latesha, is because there's the ups, there's the valleys, all the things that comes with it. So it's literally just pivoting per season. Kobe, I would love to hear your perspective on this as well. From your point of view, how did you map your trajectory in the early stages of being an entrepreneur?
Well, I will say the way I started mapping it is not how I would do it again. And I'm going back and doing some remapping. So though I think that there were some good things about how I mapped it initially, I had this plan. And Tremaine, it seems like you're saying that the final iteration is multifaceted. People need to trust that you're good at one thing before they trust you in many things. And so for me, it was, I want to do therapy, I want to speak, I want to train, but no one's going to ask me to come speak or train if I can't sit one-on-one with people and do therapy. And so for me, it was, I need a master doing therapy and living off of that income before I try to expand. And what I'm doing now to kind of revamp my business is creating a growth team. So a growth team is people I reached out to and I was like, hey, I trust your insight. I feel like you care about me. And I want to reach out to you to ask questions about my business. I asked them 2 questions. What am I an expert at that you would ask me and nobody else? And what do you think my zone of genius is? And I think for me, that exposed the fact that there's some areas that I wanted to be seen as something. And really, I was missing an opportunity to meet a need. Right. And so it was like, I wanted to speak and talk on this, but everybody wanted to ask me questions about this. And so having to get to a place where like, if you're meeting a need, people will come. You definitely have to put yourself out there. Again, I'm also oversimplifying it, but if you are answering the questions for people that you are asking yourself now, and you are asking us now, then you have a business that's going to do well.
That's so good. And I love the aspect of just asking, right? Because a lot of times we make it real like apart from us, but like just asking people like, what do you think I'll be good at? How can I serve? And then going from there. So I see a lot of questions coming in, and listen, Facebook family, Zoom family, keep it coming. We love to see it. So we got some questions from our amazing audience, and let's get into it. So the first one is, and I'm gonna start with you, Kevin. What's the biggest mistake you've made in your business? So we talked about the level ups. I'm inspired. Well, let's talk about the F-ups, because they there. Sometimes they be there. So Kevin, what's the biggest mistake you've made in your business?
My biggest fuck up was getting a partner early on when I probably didn't need to. There are many folks that, anyway, if you're able to pay someone for different services up front and not have to pay out equity to do so, I would strongly encourage potentially going that route. So anyway, partner and myself would just, long story short, we were great before the business started and okay when the business was going, but over time we just realized that our values for the business weren't quite in alignment, and we weren't doing anyone justice by being together running the business. So we had a pretty lengthy buyout right around year one, lengthy and costly. And, but it's been great for me since, and I could have avoided that. And I learned a lot from it. And that definitely kept me up at night during that time period. So that was definitely my biggest fuck up. I mean, I learned from it though. So that's what it's all about, I guess. Don't get, sorry, no finger pointing. If I could strongly encourage anyone that's listening or watching this, I would really, 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 really recommend that you don't ever go 50% equity with anybody. Someone should always be 51-49 or split it. If it's a 3 point, anyway, never be equal, because legally then you could be deadlocked if you end up hating each other, which was not our case, but like I've heard business scenarios that have been fucked because each person hates each other and just run it into the ground and lose a bunch of money.
Shout out to Kevin with the free game. I hope y'all writing all this down. Is this recording? I love to see it. Latesha, what's the biggest mistake that you've made in your business?
Oh God. Okay. Biggest mistake. I know it's like we make mistakes all the time. We're like, okay, just another day of running a business.
Another day, sis. Yes.
I guess a biggest mistake for me was holding on to things, period, that no longer serve, whether that's people, relationships, but for me, it was a service offering. So when I first started my business, I was really started off doing resume writing, interview coaching. Then it turned into, all the things that I'm doing now. And so I just let go of my resume writing offering in July of last year, but I had been complaining about it for months. And then I don't know if y'all ever have conversations with people and they kind of say something and you really hold on to that nugget, like it really resonates with you, but to them, they didn't think anything of it. So I was talking to my one of my good friends, Sherelle, and I was just like, girl, I have got to let this resume thing go. I'm tired of it. She's like, yeah, you've been talking about that for a while now. And then I was like, okay, it's time for me to do it, right? If we keep complaining about something, we got to do something about it. And so I did end up letting that go. And, I've been able to make more income. And it's crazy it's wild because that was how I first started my business, right? So to hold on and to let something go that literally was my foundation was really scary for me. But it allowed me to, really kind of evolve into where I wanted to go. So I guess it was a mistake just holding on to it for too long, and it didn't really serve me in my business anymore.
Listen, that's a word. Is this recording? Kobe, what's the biggest mistake that you've made in your business?
I would say two things. One, relying on somebody else's strength and skill before I developed my own, and being like, oh, well, they can do this, and thinking that they would be as invested in my vision and mission as I was, which just wasn't the case. And then underpaying myself. As much as I loved people and as much as I loved sitting with people, I realized that there was an emotional and psychological reality to knowing how much it cost me to leave my kids and my husband to sit with people and know that I was walking away and being like, financially, that wasn't worth it. And so raising my prices, I had to raise my prices, and I found that I could be present because I was not calculating. Now I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm not calculating how much money per minute I am making or not making. So I decided that whatever I decided to pay myself, that I would go at least $50 above that.
That's good.
I'm always going to undersell myself. And so I found that the more I paid myself, the happier I was doing what I was doing.
That's so good. And high key, sis, Kobe, I could relate. There was a time where I was like, if I carry the one times the two. So it's important, listen, quantify things, friends, right? Like it's all about strategy in this walk. Kevin, we have a question from the audience for you specifically. Any advice on finding good mentors?
Okay, so plug for some groups. There's a group called Innovate Charlotte that if you have a business, they have some criteria for how far along you need to be within your business to sign up for it. But they have, I think, 50-ish mentors who essentially you pitch your business to the group of people, they're all listening to you, and then you get anywhere from 1 to 5 folks to self-select to say, I want to go help Bob with his business. And you meet once a month, and then they basically grill you and help you whatever you need. And that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half. But personally, the board of advisors at Advent, a lot of them were people that I knew pretty well from just being open to meeting people.
Yeah.
And then I asked a couple folks who I didn't know very well if they'd be interested in being on the board, and they said yes. And I was really surprised. So if I could say recommend anything is, don't be afraid to ask people. If the folks, I think the folks that actually might really make a difference in your life will be interested in wanting to say yes. And some of the CEOs that feel unattainable, if they really are, then they might not be the best people to talk to, from what I've heard from. But nothing hurts to ask. I've heard friends reach out to way high profile individual people who I thought would be impossible to ever reach, and they reach back to them. But if you never ask, you never know.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And for me personally, I don't know if y'all know Dr. Eric Thomas, but he's very well known in like the space of like, not just, oh my goodness, we'll be here all day if we run his resume, but Dr. Eric Thomas, look him up on YouTube, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. One day I DM'd him, y'all. I just shot my shot. And he was like, sure, yeah, what? And I cried like a baby. So listen to Kevin. It's true. You can get anywhere from like top-notch high profile all the way to wherever you want. You just got to put your bid in, okay? Let's see. We're getting more questions from the audience, and I love this. Okay, Latesha, how do you address an F up with the client so you don't lose that relationship?
Okay, I'm laughing because my clients, they love me, but they know me. And so one thing that I've learned just through business and how to communicate with my clients and my team is always just being intentional and being very clear with my intent. And so, I try not to leave any room for there to be gray area or for something that I've said to be taken the wrong way. So typically if I am asking something or if I am mentioning something, I'm very clear with the intent. And also, as a coach, it's not really my responsibility or my job to tell my clients, where they've messed up, but I have to be really careful with my words because sometimes I will try to bring another perspective or, hey, let's talk about how maybe this could have been done differently. But I've just learned to be really careful with my words. Usually they own it and they know like where they've messed up. So I don't have to say, hey, you know what? That wasn't good. However, they know that I care about them and I want to see them do well. So even if I were to, kind of be a little bit more direct, which I typically am, then they appreciate it. They acknowledge it. So that's really how I address. Oh, are you saying, I'm sorry, were you saying if they have a mess up and I'm coaching them through it, or if I mess something up?
No, like literally, how do you address an F up with a client so you don't lose that relationship? It was, that's really was the question.
Okay.
Listen.
So I think I answered it, but if I mess up with the client, then, I guess I'm trying to think the last time I ever really kind of messed up like that. I don't know. Sometimes like if a relationship is ruined or anything of that nature, I will tell y'all that as much as I know that clients and people kind of qualify me before I work with them, I do the same too. And so I don't really go into like working relationships with people or businesses where I don't believe truly in their success and what we can accomplish together, or if their values or ethics or integrity is a little questionable. So luckily we haven't had any like terrible situations like that where a relationship has been ruined. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, no, that was so good, Latesha. And I'm grateful that you really brought up this essence of alignment, right? Not everything is for you, not every partnership, collaboration, all the things. And we're so quick to like, oh, that'll be cool. But no, seriously, making sure it aligns on both ends. Kobe, listen, when we talk wellness, right? All things being well, a part of that is the importance of identifying, okay, where are we strong and where can we use some improvements? So Kobe, what's the best way to identify strengths and weaknesses as a business owner?
So let's start with strengths. I like to say, what are the places in your life that people think you're excellent in without you trying?
Mhm.
Like that is your strength, and lean into that. Like the thing where people are like, whoa, how'd you do that? And you're like, do what? Right? Like that's the thing that you need to lean into. I think that weaknesses are pretty easy to identify, and not just because of whether you can do it well or not. I think that weaknesses are things that you struggle emotionally to want to do.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, especially if you are running your own business, you need to position yourself for the end game. And the end game is that this is going to last.
Yeah.
Can you last if you are miserable doing this thing every single day and you have to do it every single day to eat, right? To survive, to pay your rent. And so I would say the things that I can do, but I just don't want to do. To me, that's a weakness. I don't want to spend my time editing something on Canva. I just do not want to, right? And so I consider that a weakness. And because I consider that a weakness, I've hired out for that, right? And to say that like nothing that makes me more efficient at what I'm good at is a waste of time or money, right? I literally have someone, my assistant scrubs my emails every day at 9, 2, and 5. I'm tired. I don't want to look at a sale and get caught up on whether Nike's having a sale or not. I don't care if Beauty Counter has a new serum. And I'm the person who's going to read it. I'm the person who's going to read it and then click on it and then scroll through, and now I've lost an hour. And so she scrubs it, she labels it. And so if it has a red thing, then I go and I respond to it. I hate answering emails. People think it's bougie. People think that it's, but it makes me better at my job, and it makes me a better person for myself and for my family. So
yeah. That's so good, Kobe. You bring up a really good point. Moment of transparency for me too, as an owner. One of the things that's not like my favorite or funsies is like data and metrics. Like I just loving on people creating content. So like for me, having people who could do the numbers for you means a lot. So I get that, Kobe. That's awesome. Kevin, we have a question from the audience. When you are ready to hire, how do you determine what roles are needed in your business?
Oh man. That's really hard. Okay, so when you are ready to hire, I cannot recommend this book enough. How to Be a Great Boss by Gino Wickman. It's a must. It's super good. Same people that wrote Traction and the EOS system, all this shit. EOS. Anyway,
I love Kevin.
It's really good. It gives a really straightforward framework how to actually identify kind of what you might need within your company, but also how to actually manage and lead a team. It's been super helpful, and Charlotte and Sam have been through the gamut with it, so they know kind of what we do, and so far they're still here. So hopefully they stay. Our first hires were not a disaster, but we didn't hire effectively because we just know we needed help, and so we just said, hey, we need help, come join us. But we didn't have tasks written out. We didn't really truly understand our own tasks and who was doing what and who should have done what. Going forward, though, when we hire someone new, we really craft a specific role with each line item excruciatingly written out as to what we're going to have them do. And that also helps us assess what we're currently doing on our own. Anyway, I don't have a good answer. I'm sorry.
No, that was actually excellent. No, intentional with hiring. That's really good. Latesha, sound off on this as well, because I was going to toss it over to you. Like, yeah, the question.
Yeah, I'm over here like, okay, I read Traction, I read, EOS, whatever. And I did not know about that book. And this is something that I was talking to my financial advisor about. Like, I need help. I need more help and more help. So, here's what my financial advisor said. Do a time audit, right? Write down everything that you do. Write down the things like Kobe was speaking to, your zone of genius. What are the things you actually want to do? You shouldn't have to give that up unless it is something that's not tied to a revenue generating activity for your business. And so write out everything that has to be done, because I've had some terrible hires, to be completely honest, where either they were nice, I like them, right? I'm like, yes, I like you.
They're sweet. They're very sweet.
Yeah, like, no, they can't really get the job done. And, I also am very aware of the culture of my company too. And so, I just pulled the plug on my first time hire. She started 2 weeks ago. But when she interviewed, we had a very robust interview process. And I have contractors and everything, but this was a little bit different. But when we got to the end of the interview, she was like, is there anything that I need to know, about the company, as I'm considering, or if I am considered that might, be like, turn me off. And I told her, I said, look, let me just tell you straight up, we do everything remote. You won't be in an office with a bunch of people every single day. This is a small business. So you do have to be able to work independently, kind of work on your own. I won't be available all the time, Are you okay with that? Right. So I also recognize that if someone is coming, if someone needs an environment where they're around a lot of people every single day and having a lot of conversations and in the water room or break room, getting water, like that's just not what we do, right? So she was okay with that and she recognized that, but it took me actually having people that I lost because it wasn't really that alignment fit. So that is, I guess, what I would say to that is figure out what you don't want to do, what you don't have the time to do. And it can either be outsourced, it can be delegated, but you have to focus on revenue generating activities. That's number one.
Come on, y'all. Are y'all catching these gems? I just want to know. Asking for a friend. I am the friend. Kobe, was there a moment as a business owner where you finally realized you were doing what you were meant to do?
Yeah, I think the moment is when I had several people saying the same thing, which was, I don't know where else I would have gotten this.
Wow.
And that was, and not to say other people aren't out there doing it, but for that, it was clear that I was actually reaching the audience I was intending to reach.
Wow.
That was a cool moment because I think it took a while. I was trying to figure out who my audience was. I was trying to do that. I want to serve everybody, and trying to cater to everyone's needs. But that was the moment for me that I was like, oh, I'm actually changing lives because I'm providing something that if I were not here would not be provided.
Come on, understanding purpose. Latesha, we got a question from the audience. What kind of mistakes and F-ups do you often see from your clients?
Staying in a job too long and being there just for, a check. And I don't ever want to say that we all have, the privilege to go out and get another job tomorrow. But sometimes being stuck, it can be, sometimes it's a choice, right? Yeah. And I think sometimes we fail to see how many options we do actually have in our careers. And so that's the biggest thing is, okay, well, this job is paying me, or, well, they are, reimbursing me for, this degree or this certification. And it's like, who's to say another company wouldn't do that, right? You don't have to, struggle your way to success. And people leave jobs quite often. And it is okay, it's the norm. And I think we can't look at searching for a job as a weakness. Sometimes when people know that they are underdeveloped and underutilized or unhappy, and they'll say, oh, it's kind of on me. It's my fault that I'm out here looking for a new job. And it's just like, no, I think it really can be seen as a strength because that goes to show that you aren't willing to settle in your career. You know that you're meant to do more and that you deserve better. So it really is about getting out of our own way.
That's so good, getting out of our own way. Okay, friends, lightning round as we are nearing the end. Kevin, I'm gonna start with you. How do you find joy when you're overwhelmed with your work?
Oh man. I like to see, this is always, I guess, realizing what is driving me when you guys were talking about this, and I didn't realize I had an answer, but I like seeing people connect that never would have met before, and then their lives and the trajectory that they were on changes forever. I don't know if it's a selfish thing or whatever, but I really enjoy that. Yeah. And I really think what was the basis of what Advent has been built on is this notion of people meeting each other. Yeah. So when the day is crazy, and for example, we just added a new door and all of our door codes are fucked and we got to redo all this shit and it's a lot of manual work. But then when you see two members talking on the balcony upstairs that have just happened to meet for the first time ever because they happen to be in close proximity to each other and taking a break outside looking at the view. It's like, that's cool. Now they're going to say hi to each other and they walk into space tomorrow and they never would have met otherwise. That kind of stuff makes it very much worth it for me to step back and know that there is a bigger picture view. And back to that idea of the notion of intention, if I can zoom out from the heavy hitting stress and just be able to take a step back mentally to realize what it's all for most of the time, that helps keep me going.
I love that. Kobe, how do you find joy when you become a little overwhelmed with work?
Yeah, so I began to build in non-negotiable rest. So from my faith perspective, that's Sabbath and honoring what my capacity is.
Yeah.
So I don't work Mondays and Fridays. Doesn't matter how much money you offer me, doesn't matter what's happening. I am not working on a Monday or a Friday unless I'm traveling to prepare for something. And I found that I had more capacity Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday than I did working Monday through Saturday, right? That like that much rest fueled me to run hard and fast for 3 days. And then I needed that much rest to be able to take care of myself, my household, connect to my friends, maintain relationships. And that fueled my 3 days of work. So at my business, we only work 3 days a week.
I love that. Love that. And it's understanding what aligns. I love that. And unapologetic about it too. I love that so much, Kobe. Latesha, how do you find joy when you're overwhelmed with work?
Yeah, just taking the time for me. My cat Nipsey, he brings me joy. I love him. He's over there just doing his thing, playing. So my cat, my family too. So spending time with them. And I think, as well, just running a business, sometimes it is so much that goes into it. So having that, support system where I know like, okay, my friends also run businesses and we can relate to how hard it can be. And so we do lift each other up. So that's been, extremely helpful, but spending a lot of time with my family and my fur baby.
I love that. Shout out to Nipsey. Okay, 30 seconds or less. Kevin, how do you reward yourself when you've leveled up?
I smoke a cigar and drink some kind of booze.
Okay, pinkies up.
I'm usually listening to music. I have a specific playlist that I really enjoy.
Nice. Okay, could I ask who's on the playlist?
It's all over the map. It's a lot of like ambient or stuff that's been very emotional from early on. So I started listening to music my entire life. I've kept a lot of this music. So it's kind of like this life block of things. So each song takes me on a different memory and a different path that I was on at a certain point in my life.
I love that.
I'll give you the list later. I'll share a screenshot. It's
I
all
was about to say, I need to know who on the playlist. That's so cool. Kobe, how do you reward yourself when you've leveled up?
Sneakers. I hit the sneakers app. I go to footlocker.com and I will buy myself a pair of sneakers. And each one kind of represents a win I've had. So my sneaker kind of collection is really my win collection. So
that's cool.
I love that. And she's not lying, y'all. The sneaker game is crazy. Okay, sneaker game crazy. Latesha, how do you reward yourself when you've leveled up?
Take myself out to dinner or get a massage. I had a massage right before I came here today to this panel. So
yes.
A bag. I just bought a new car. So anything that I see that motivates me.
I love that. I love that. Next time, let me know when you get a massage. I ain't get the call.
Oh, okay. My bad. I got you.
Thank you very much. All right. Oh, and Kevin, I have to ask this one because somebody asked. Somebody wanted to know, what is the story behind your plants?
Trying to keep them alive and happy. So,
yeah.
There's a system called Wally Grow. Anyway, that's what these little things are. They're pretty, I'm going to say idiot proof because I haven't killed any of these succulents yet. Usually I kill succulents really fast. There's a south-facing window right here, which helps. That's why they're all going that way.
Nice.
I got these as a gift from my mother-in-law. I really liked them, and I had all these plants that were okay, and I decided to go for it. And so those died. So
no, that wall looks amazing. I'm glad somebody asked the question because earlier, friends, we were bragging about Kevin's wall. I was like, man, that looks great. We're proud of you, Kevin. We're proud. They're all living.
Thank you. I actually, you know what? I when I leveled up, I would buy more plants, and I finally stopped buying plants because they're a lot of work if you care about them. I do, and I just cannot have any more plants.
Yes, so true. I got into plants and I love it here. But friends, thank y'all so much for tuning in to our F Up Level Up Night. Shout out to Kevin, Kobe, and Latesha. Listen, I'm going to have them right now share all their social media. So if you have a question offline or if you would like to connect with them, listen, you definitely should. And I'm not just saying this because I love all three of them, okay? So Latesha, share your socials and also put it in the chat. So Latesha, you first.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing. Thank you, Avid, Kevin, everybody. And my social at Latesha_Byrd on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm also on LinkedIn, but I'm pretty much active or more active on Twitter. So if you want to see some tea about business diversity, what companies are doing wrong, you want to follow me.
Yes, and I do. And every morning with my coffee, I'm reading your tweets, sis. Put it in the chat for the people so they can connect with you. Kobe, share your socials, darling.
So all my socials are Healing Circle Podcast. I'll stick that in the chat. So that's Healing Circle Podcast, and that's where you can find me.
Yes. And listen, all I'm going to say is listen to the podcast, please. Matter of fact, I don't even got to say please. Once you listen to one episode, you're going to be hooked, okay? And Kevin, first get into Advent, share Advent's socials, yours, all the things.
Yeah, anything Advent Co-working, you'll find it on all the platforms. We mainly do Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We don't do as much Twitter anymore, just for time of energy. Yeah. Personally, I'm pretty much on Facebook and LinkedIn at creative_Kevin G. And then anything with Advent Co-working, you'll find us everywhere.
Absolutely, friends, and definitely follow at Avid Co-working. Listen, so you can stay in the loop with more talks like these, as well as the mastermind groups. Listen, there's so many resources that Avid offers, and if you want to be a part of a community, and especially people who can support you, we spoke to wellness and just accountability. It's definitely at Avid. Friends, thank you so much for pulling up on us today. Listen, continue to thrive, and remember, turn that F up into a level up. Have an awesome night, friends. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.